I'll make it Crystal now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of the Rising Matriarch Get to Know the Authors webinar series that we're streaming live to Facebook and to YouTube. And if you're watching the replay, enjoy. So today I am joined with Gezzell Sabina and Laura Elizabeth. Laura's the compiler of the book, and me, Karen McDermott, but I should say Karen Weaver today because I was also a contributor in this book, and Laura's going to interview me today. Don't know what's going to come out, so brace yourself and brace yourself for what Gezzell shares as well. It can go anywhere, and that's what we love because we're getting to know amazing humans in this series. So it's nice and cozy here with the three of us on the screen, so I'm just going to keep it that way, okay? So Gezzell, let's get to know you first. Can you share with us the title of your chapter, and also what was our first question, Laura? What have you learned about yourself during the process of writing it?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. I am Gezzell Sabina. Sorry, that's my grandmother's middle name. So I am passing on some of the matriarch down through that line of my family. My title is called Bullied. And it was something that I went through a lot. And I think everybody at some point in their life has felt it. Possibly even dealt it out too. So, we're not all unscathed when it comes to things like that. But my chapter, I think from after writing it, it was such a whirlwind, and I'm not, and I am now an author, but I wasn't an author. And I also have dyslexia. So for me, reading and writing has always been really difficult. My mum and my sister are very much the readers in the family. But, when you've got to break the mold, you've got to break the mold. So I did that. And I think it's probably showing me that I haven't quite forgiven myself. And I've still got growth and healing to do, which is quite reassuring, because if we didn't, then what's the point? What's the point of being here and going through these things and learning the lessons, and then being able to share your experiences of the lessons that you've learned? So, yeah, I think I've still got, a little bit of healing to do, and a little bit more forgiveness for myself for allowing the bullying, and then sometimes also, putting the bullying back. So
so honest and raw, and just a beautiful perspective. I adore you, Gezzell, and what you bring to the faith. Can you just share with us about the actual writing process? Were you, like myself and Laura, 11th hour magic, relying on that, or did you take your time?
I kind of wrote a few different scripts, I suppose. Like, I just jotted down a few things when I had the first conversation with Laura, and she did her normal, it's either an FY or a HN, which if anybody knows Laura, they'll know what that means, because I'm not going to swear at the moment. So I debated about the writing, and I sat, and there were just little stories or just little like words that kept popping in, and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to write all this stuff down. And then I went, I'm not doing this anymore, and I let it sit for a little while. And then I've got 2 very boisterous boys, a very busy life. To try and find time to sit and write to get in the flow wasn't always easy. So I think I just actually went, right, you know what, you just got to get this done. So sit your butt down and just start. And then once I started, the story flowed. And then, there was a lot of holy snot, and then a lot of, I don't know if this is the right thing to write, but it is what it is. And it came from a place that I didn't know was still there. So, it flowed easily once I actually allowed it to come out, but I was very hesitant, very hesitant. So, and then I think when I emailed it off, there was a lot of swearing when I emailed it off, but Yeah, I
It
was
sounds
definitely
like
not
a
an 11.
really
I wasn't at the very end of it. I think I had it off well before deadline because, again, I'm one of those people that hates not having things in on time. Excuse me. So I had to get. There was a time, and I was like, right, I've got to do it before then. So that was it.
Oh, you honored you. I love listening to your process because, like, not only did you have to overcome the odds of dyslexia and all of that kind of thing, and reading if it's not your thing, to be able to, but you honored the story and you let it just marinate and just sat down and let it just come out when it needed to. And that is exactly me. Laura and I have been talking. That's exactly what you needed to deliver to the readers. So that's the thing, and you honored that. Isn't that right, Laura? Do you want to pick up there?
And it was awesome. I remember tears running down my face reading yours as well. Actually, there's not many where I wasn't. But also I know that you did sit in the fear of, I'm dyslexic and I'm not a writer, and I'm like, but what if you were a fucking writer?
Yeah.
And reading it and feeling the emotion, and that's your gift, like bringing that energy and that emotion and that love to everyone around you. And I could feel that through your writing, and I was like, oh yes, she's done it.
My sister-in-law, I gave her the book just yesterday, and then she sent me the most beautiful message last night on Messenger, and just how much she loved the story. And even though she knows a lot of my story, we're really close, she read it on paper, and she just said, I'm so grateful. And it really shocked me that I got such a beautiful response from my little corner of the world. It's really lovely.
Absolutely. It's so good. Laura, have you got a second question there?
I do. Also, do we have Krytal waiting in there?
Yeah, Crystal's going to come in now in a few minutes. She's backstage.
Gezzell, who is this book for?
Now, I've been thinking about this question, and as much as everybody says it's for everyone, and I do believe that, my biggest pull is I think it's for the people that it actually resonates with. Like, you don't even know that you need the book until you need the book. And I think that is where it comes down to us as our authors, and us learning each other's stories and being able to say to somebody, I've just read something that you may resonate with so well. I really think you should check it out. I think being able to gift it in your own words from even somebody else's, just a snippet of their story, is where anybody that needs to read something to really, empower themselves. But I feel the stories that I have read so far, and I will be honest, I haven't read all of them. It takes me a little while to do that kind of stuff. But I think that it needs to find the people that it needs to find. And I think that magic will happen when it needs to. So it's all good and well going, everybody should read the book, which they should. But I think the souls that really need it and that will grow from it, it will find them. And that power will find them, and that magic will find them, and they will get to find something out of it that is only for them. So I think it's a very individual process.
And when you have a book and you're either drawn to it, or it comes into your possession, and it can sit there for a really, really, it can sit there for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden it's like, now's the time.
Yes.
Or you get it and you read it, and then it sits on the shelf for a decade, and you pick it up again, and there's even more layers in there, and it teaches you something new. And I think this book is going to be a really beautiful teaching tool in that way, that the first time there'll be one layer, the next time there'll be another layer and another layer and another layer, and it's just going to keep pouring out the magic as you need it. And I think you're like 100% on that.
Well,
Gezzell?
I read my story back to myself, and I was like, wow, I resonated so much with that girl. And then it was like, well, that's me. It was
but
really
it's
bizarre.
a different perspective as well, isn't it? Like, once you've let it sort of pour out of you, your attachment to the story changes, but the resonance is still there on a different level. And every time you go and read it, there'll be something different, or there'll be something to reflect. I'm like, wow, look at me now. I've come this far, and now I've come this far, and now I've come this far, and it's such a beautiful flag point for you to mark your own journey as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been an honor to be a part of this, honestly.
Oh, so fun to have you involved. That's such a powerful story. It's so important. It's just so important because when it connects with somebody who needs to read it, they're not going to be alone. It's going to change their life. So thank you so much. Would you what legacy would you like to leave behind, Gezzell?
Compassion and self-love, because reading the stories that I have, that common thread is it's not about your self-worth, it's about your self-love and learning how you need to love yourself, because it's going to be different every day. You're not going to love yourself the same way yesterday that you need to love yourself today, because it's the now moment that you need to be an open-hearted person for you first. Then you can allow that to happen for other people. So I would like my legacy to be at one point of my legacy, for my boys to see that and to remember their own compassion, and then for the rest of the world to just sometimes take that breath and go, is this coming from a heartfelt place, or is it coming from an ego place, or is it coming from a sad place? And without having, you don't really need tools to know how much your heart is beautiful. It really is. So yeah. Self-worth and compassion is that too much to ask?
No, not at all. And when you sit with you just feel that in bucket loads. It's just amazing. Thank you so much, Gezzell, for taking the time for us to get to know you. I know our readers will adore watching this. So thank you so much. Please stay backstage and we will bring you back up in a moment after we talk to Krytal. Thank you. Wow, isn't it amazing, Nora? We're at it again, bringing these amazing authors to the forefront. Hey,
just gets more and more exciting.
I love it. So we're going to welcome Krytal to the stage. Welcome, Krytal. Oh, hello, Bubba.
Hi. Oh, good to see where the camera is now. Because
we can see all of you.
Yep, as long as you don't see all of me.
No, we're just a smiling Bub. Look how happy she is. It's beautiful.
She is.
Krytal, can you share with us the title of your chapter and also no.
Sorry.
What have you learned about yourself during the writing process?
So my chapter is She Said and She Did. And it was basically I had this poem in my head and I wrote it out, and it kind of triggered like a flow on, and lots of things were popping up, lots of conversations about abuse were coming up in my family. We're having lots and lots of conversations, and I felt like it was my journey and my time to kind of write about it and put it out there, as scary as it really is. To do that. So it was a very fast and long process, all at the same time. It was sorry. She was supposed to be asleep.
Yeah, I know these days whenever you have it all timed to perfection for Bub to be asleep, but isn't she just the most gorgeous thing?
She is.
I have to admit, your story got me. It just got me. Just like, wow, and I have absolute I'm just like, whenever I read it, I was like, wow, I just feel as if I got to know you so much better and just see the strength of where you are now. And, gorgeous babies, like, we always see with them. And I was always the same, and mine were babies as well. There was always one sitting on my lap when I was doing whatever I was doing. And it's just the most beautiful, divine thing. But and I love that you say that it was fast but long process, and quite often that's what it is. The behind the scenes that happens from the writing process of the story compiling can be a long time in the making, and then whenever you sit down to write it, it just flows out, and just honoring that process.
Yeah, it was. I found it quite difficult, like submitting my final draft and then realizing, oh, I didn't say these things, and I felt like they were really important things that I should have mentioned, and so it's very hard to let go when you send it and just accept that what I've put out there is what I've put out there. And I found that the most challenging part of the whole process is mentally letting go of what I'd given to the world, and not feeling like, oh, but I need to justify this and I need to add this part because I don't want to offend that person, and just letting it be what it was. Kind of, I found that very challenging, but I'm happy. And at the end of the day, it's what the reader wants to take from it, and needs to take from it
differently. Everyone reads differently. It's amazing. Laura, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, look, I think, with your story in particular, Krytal, it was so much of a story, and it's more like 10 stories that all weave into one. So I can totally understand how, trying to get that into like 3,000 words, or because there's so much. It's like, which one do we run with? But all necessary to sort of form a complete picture and an understanding of who you are. And I think, running the blog that you do, it's like absolutely perfect for you, because there's just so much to share and to inspire and to give hope to other people who've gone through similar things. So it definitely left me wanting more of you as well. Like, I'm just like, who is this woman? And she's done this and she's done this, and like just so inspiring and so incredible. And I want more. Who
it is
would you
captivating. Absolutely captivating. Absolutely. So yeah,
I'm very, very grateful, and I wanted to really be a part of it. So many incredible stories, and that's, I know that there are so many components, but I felt like it was important to paint the picture that life isn't just one big event. It's lots of multiple big moments that help shape us to the point that we need to get to. So and conveying that in a short space.
Yeah, absolutely.
With humor as well, because humor is a huge part of my life, where it's not the fundamentals. I'm happy to sit in the sadness, but I think it's also really important to add a little bit of humor, so it's not so you don't walk away, you don't put the book down and feel like you have gone through trauma yourself. You need to be able to lighten it just enough that people see that there are silver linings out there as well.
Yeah.
And it literally felt like having a conversation with your best friend. It felt like I could have made a cuppa, and reading your story literally felt like your voice coming through with, the sarcasm and the taboo and the swearing. And it was like, we're besties for life. It was such a beautiful capture of who you are through your writing. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful. Laura, have you got another question there for Krytal?
Who is this book for, Krytal? Who do you recommend it to?
I think what you ladies were saying actually is so important. It is for women, or and I say women with an X instead of an E. It's for all women who identify as women. It's for even the men who want to understand from a higher, deeper level. And it's for the people who are in the right time of their lives. They're going to take snippets out of every story that is valid for the moment in that person. and every time they read it, they're going to get something new from it. They'll go to somebody's chapter for seeing that. It's like having a whole heap of best friends. And you know, when you need to get this from that best friend, you know who to go to. So if someone reads the book, has that little voice in the back of their minds of how the story actually, each individual story goes, there will be something in every story for everybody, and each stage of everybody's lives that they can resonate with and learn something and be empowered themselves to grow that little bit further.
It absolutely is. I love that. It's so good. It's a choice, isn't it? And whoever is called to the book, you know, is who the book's for. It's beautiful. What legacy would you like to leave behind, Krytal?
Obviously, I want to change the world. That's my legacy. I want to be a spokesperson and somebody who changes the conversations in the medical profession. So I want to change our own internal conversations we have with ourselves. And I want people, the reader, to kind of become their own best friend from it. It doesn't even have to be global domination is what I'd like, but you know, a legacy to just one person is so important. It doesn't remove the validity of it by impacting just one person's life. It's still a legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Behind that one person, there's so many people as well, and you feel the ripple of that. It's so beautiful.
Exactly.
Oh, Krytal, it's so lovely to get. Oh, there we are. She did well. She did well.
She did.
Interview, didn't she?
Good
Thank you for your patience. It's so lovely to get to know you more, Krytal, and I'm sure all of our readers are delighted as well to just get to know the depths of your story. We didn't give anything away, so you need to absolutely come and read Krytal's story in Rising Matriarch. Thank you so much for joining us, Krytal.
You.
Thanks, gorgeous.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, Laura, it's just like,
I
so
want
good.
to change the world.
Oh, just like that,
That's an
you know.
answer.
That's an answer. It is absolutely. Oh,
Okay.
I just keep smiling. Remember, I was saying to you, we catch up after these, and I'm just smiling, getting to know, and just showcasing each one of these women. It's just divine, absolutely divine.
And how perfect they all are, you know, in their own right, and then as this collective, like it's just perfect who has been called into this space. It's amazing, divine, beautiful. Yeah.
And in leading into that, I also got the divine call to be part of this book. So go for it. Ask me the questions, even though I haven't even pondered them for myself. So whatever comes out, comes out.
Let me just sip my boss mug.
Oh, you've got your boss mug. Oh, this is you getting flexed and ready in publisher mode. Oh, love it.
Karen, it has been a joy to work on this project with you, and I must admit, when you asked if you could be a part of it and contribute your chapter, part of me was terrified, and the other part felt completely validated in trusting that flow. Like, oh, Karen wants to be in here, so it must be a good thing that I'm on. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you've learned from the process of being in the Rising Matriarch?
Oh, absolutely. So my story is called The Wild Within, and that title just came. And it's funny because when I was driving up to the launch on the freeway, just past Kwinana, there was a big signpost of an advert, and it had written on it, The Wild Within. I was like, this blows my mind. It just blows my mind. It was an advertisement. It wasn't about the book or my story, but it was just the 3 words, The Wild Within, was on the advertisement on the way up to the launch. So that was epic. I love these little signs that find their way to us and get our attention at times. But when this book was coming together, I could just feel the energy in it. And I wear two hats. I have Karen McDermott, who's the publisher, businesswoman, putting herself out there. You know, I'm always an open book, pretty much, as you know, anyone who knows me. But I also am Karen Weaver, the author. So I love to share stories, and I've seen an opportunity to really open up and share a bit of rawness in here that I never, that I haven't, well, I have done it before and different, but just to really, I hope, contribute to this book, because I just seen the courage, and I seen the story, you know, the women that were coming into it, and I was like, this is going to be a powerful book, and I want to be part of it too, because my story, I went through PTSD, and I also had a double miscarriage, and these things really, you know, they were a catalyst in my life. But as much as they were horrible, and as much as I didn't like it, not whatsoever, it was also a very powerful time in my life. And actually, it was, you know, most people would say that as a negative. It ended up unfolding into a very much a positive, because it pivoted me onto the right track, the right track of that I'm on right now, that I own, and that I live at such a higher vibration. And so I like to use my stories to show what's possible when you own your story, because I answered that call. I answered the call to write my first novel 11 years ago. I answered that call, even though it defied all odds. I had a 4-week-old child. I had missing keys on my keyboard of my laptop, and it was, you know, we were in Australia. I didn't have any family or anything around to support, but I just had this passion to do it, and this, you know, so I did it. I answered the call, and I thought, I write a novel, that's it, done, dusted. I've answered the call. I've shared my epiphany with the world. But no, I just got this call then into publishing. So, and to share that story, I get an opportunity to share my story and the rawness of it. And then I also go into where I never, ever, ever go in business world or anything. It's into my relationships and the dynamics of how, you know, we went through darkness and pulled through into some lightness and things like that. So it really, and I went there for you, Laura. Would never go there. Not even in my own books, you know, I don't even go there in my Life Magic Mastery books at all. So it's interesting. And I remember calling you or message you and saying, right, the story's ready to come out. You know, it's as if it's a gestation period, and then it's just the 11th hour magic to get it down on paper. But there's stuff that happens before it in the back of your mind. I was like, and what's coming through is I'm not really happy to share it, but it's coming, and I gotta let it come. So it's funny. And you were like, holy shit. Karen, okay, go for it.
I love that, you know, this gave you the opportunity to push through those boundaries for you, and you know, push you into that discomfort to birth something absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful show. Beautiful
absolutely chapter. And like, I'm usually an open book, talking to everybody about everything, you know. Everybody knows the ins and outs of my life, and if something comes up, then, you know, God, it's an Irish thing in me. It's where, oh, and I have a story or something that's happened in my life that I had a positive outcome from, so I'm going to share that with you. And I think because I wasn't having the positive outcome before, you know, I was still in the trenches, but started to have a positive outcome. So I felt obliged to share the message with others. So it was just really important for me to share. So I showed up for you guys.
100% did, and I'm so grateful that you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who would you recommend this book to?
Well, I have to admit, when I was reading this book, like every single story just caught me tight in the chest. You know, you know that tightness that you feel. Oh my God! You know, while you're going on this. Oh, you're going on this journey with because my purpose in life is to live through story and to help stories get told. That is my absolute purpose in life. It's my calling, and to facilitate stories into the world, and to do it in a loving, caring way, because every story has to be honored. So when I started to read these stories, and it wasn't until more after the collectiveness of the stories, because you had been through the journey with each of the authors, Laura, as they were being birthed, the stories were coming together. But I was reading them afterwards, and after Tracy had the edits and stuff, and I was like, holy crap, this is a powerful book full of stories that may never have been told, may never have been honored, and stories where women showed up, were vulnerable, went through the process of writing the story to deliver it to the world. And there's 24 of them in one book. Like, holy moly. Like, this is a powerful book. And when even one story reaches one person that needs to read it, it's going to impact them and everyone around them. So this book is for, I'm just going to, second everybody who's talked. It is for everyone. It is for women to, and the sisterhood kind of thing, learn from each other, share, show up. And like, these women showed up for you. So, honor them by reading their stories in the loving intention they were shared with. Also for obviously men who want to step into the discomfort of maybe getting to know women better and just knowing the deeper levels, of a woman, then why not? This book is so engaging. It's just like, you just like blow your mind moments all the time throughout it. It's just like, holy shit, wow, these are powerful women, look at where they are now, and look at, what their story is. And then I know when my daughters I have 4 girls, I know whenever they're old enough and they need to read these stories, I'll be gifting them to them. So it's kind of like definitely a coming of age kind of awareness to know that everybody has trials and tribulations through life, but that you navigate that and look where you can end up. So there's so much hope in it, and advice, and so much of everything in it. So that's what I'm going to answer to that question. So it's all been covered already. So
yeah, it's such a beautiful thing, and you're saying that this is a group of powerful women. I feel like what happens if we flip that statement around to women are powerful?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Not just 24 of us in a book who happen to be powerful, but what if women are just powerful by our birthright? Then how does the world look when we all start to own the pieces of that?
Yeah. And that's the thing, absolutely, Laura, is that whenever women are just powerful, that's it. It is, women are powerful, and put 24 together in a book.
You just flick the switch on.
You can't even articulate it. There's no word for it yet. We'll have to make one up. But yeah.
You mentioned just a little bit before about how your calling in life is to get people's stories out and to share them with the world. Can you go a little bit deeper into your legacy and what you hope to leave behind?
Yeah, so absolutely. So my legacy is obviously to have stories get told. That's my calling. That's what I do every day, but also my own stories, because I've traveled a lot inward and outward in life. I've experienced a lot, but I've learned a lot, and I study a lot of the universal laws and things like that. So, and I'm really sharing a lot of that with the world as well. So through my teachings and through my learnings, and how I get to show up and live joyfully in every moment of every day. As a mom of 6 children, as I own 3 businesses, but I enjoy I have my shit days. I'm not going to say I don't, but on those days I just lock up shop and go to the beach or something. So I know, I listen to myself. I know how to make sure that I keep my cup full. So I prioritize that, because when my cup is full, everyone benefits. It's when the cup's empty, that's when you don't get the best of me. So I prioritize that. And that message is so important, not just for women, for men as well, out there into the world. And so I teach my 7 life principles, which are mindfulness, knowing, intention, gratitude, love, forgiveness, and belief. And those are the 7 principles I live and base my life on. So people always say to me, Karen, how do you do what you do? And I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to share with you. So I've started writing the books and stuff, and it's all just flowing through. The call's very loud for that, to share those principles with the world. So not only am I now facilitating stories, I'm also sharing my life principles with the world. So that's how we're going to keep rolling, Laura.
Absolutely love that. And you know, having worked with you over the last, you know, 5 or 6 months, you know, seeing how committed you are to what you do, but that you have really healthy boundaries and you respect time for yourself and for your family. And I think that is absolutely the key to, having a full cup and being able to get shit done, because woman, you get shit done like no one I've ever met. Like, it's amazing, and it's beautiful to have formed this relationship with yours, and I cannot wait to move into the next phase of our journey together. Celtic unite.
Yes, the Celtic power, that's it, isn't it? And you can just feel the energy of that. It's just in itself is very powerful, because you tap into it and it's like opening up a, you know, woo, it's coming, and you start brewing it up, and it's very special. And you know, so many people miss out in life because they don't take that step. They don't, it's more fear, you know, they make the decisions with fear influence. But my purpose, you know, through my writings is because I was once told, Karen, you are fearless. And I'm like, there's no fear in knowing. So I know exactly what to say yes to and what to say no to, because I'm very aligned with my intentions. But one thing I will not do is compromise in my values, because if I compromise my values, the results are never rewarding, because I've sacrificed something. Whereas you can have it all and not compromise once you're setting the right intentions that are aligned with you and your life's purpose. So important. Sorry, I could talk about this all day. You're going to have to stop me.
I absolutely love that, and it's been beautiful, you know, to get to know you on that deeper level. And I'm sure, you know, all of our authors and everybody else who's watching the replay will feel even more connected to your beautiful spirit and power as a woman. So thank you for letting me poke you.
Thank you for poking, and thank you to everyone for watching. And please feedback us, please connect with all of our authors, because they are amazing and they've got amazing businesses behind them. And so just get to know everyone, go and hunt them down, get to know them, and see what it's all manifested into. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Laura.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow for day 4 of 4, the final day. Bye, everyone.